Hi, my name is Guerrero Raya, and today will be Justificación from the Examen Chapter 11 of Asignatura of Communication y Orientación de Redes, white teacher Rivera Ponce Alejandro Javier. I am from the 7E611 group. This question says, which command should be used on a Cisco router or switch to allow log messengers to be displayed on remotely connect session using Telnet or SSH? I select Terminal Monitor because I chose this option. In section 11.3.5.2, mention about SSH and Telnet are used for remote session. The messenger are displayed on the VT lines. The next question says, what is the purpose of using SSH to connect to a router? I select it allows a server remote connection to the router command line interface. Because I chose this option, in the section 11.2.4 mention that it is advisable to enable SSH to set remotely safely an image of how the process how to be displayed show. The next question says some routers and switches inaugurating a closed manifold Telnet after an air conditioned unit were failed. What type of threat does the situation described? I select environment because I chose this option. In the section 11.2.1.2, talks in general about the classes of physical routers, and the question mentioned about the air conditioned unit that is failing, and environmental threats talks about the states of temperature. The next question says, a network teacher uses the tracer seeds www.cisco.com command on a Windows PC. What is the purpose of the seeds command option? I select it force the tracer to the IPv6 because I chose this option. In the section 11.3.2.2, in figure 2, you can see the tracer command where a list of the possible commands to view used display and the seeds is the player where the usage of IPv6 is forced. Next question says, which two steps are required before CCH can be enabled on a Cisco router? Choose 2. I select give the router a host name and domain name, and generate a set of secret keys to be used for encryption and decryption. Because I chose this option, in the section 11.2.4.24 mentions how activate CCH following a series of steps which is required before enabling it. Next question says, a network administration for a small company is completely how to scale the network over the next 3 years to accommodate project growth. Which 3 types of information should be used to plan of network growth? Choose 3. I select documentation of the current physical and logical topologies, analysis of the network traffic based on protocols, applications, and services used to the network, and inventory of the devices that are currently used on the network. Because I chose the option, in the section 11.1.3.1 mentioned to the step to scale a network where the elements that are underlined and that are part of the where you enter required. The next question says, match the type of information security threat to the scenario. No all options are used, where each definition is located in the section 11.2.1.1, where the parts of the types of threat is explained. The next question says, which two traffic types require delay sensitivity delivery? I chose 2. I select voice and video because I chose this option. In the section 11.1.2.3 mentions about the use of the companies of which there must be appropriately over the types of the traffic since they are sensitive to delay. Next question says, what is the purpose of the network security authentication function? I select to request user to provide who they are because I chose this option. In the section 11.2.3.2 mentions the concept of the AAA, where it's the owner that requires the location of the user of the who they are. The next question says what server defines the protocols and technologies that implement the transmission of voice packets over an AP network. I select voice AP because I chose this option. In the section 11.1.2.3 mentions part of the service offered by voice AP that converts the analog input into digital AP packets. The next question says which statement is true about HDP on a Cisco device. I select CDP can be disabled globally or on a specific interface. Because I chose this option, in the section 11.3.4.3, it mentioned about a command to the ability to deactivate CDP globally or also deactivate in the interface. The next question says, a network administration for a small campus network has issued to show AP interface brief command on a switch. What is the administration verifying with this command? I select the status of the switch interface and the address configuration interface VLAN 1. Because I chose this option, in the section 11.3.4.4 mentioned in the part of verifying the interface of the switch indicates that figure 2 where the command is a place to verify the status of the interface and the address configured in VLAN 1. The next question says which two statements describe how to access traffic flow patterns and network traffic types using a protocol analyzer. Choose 2. I select capture traffic during peak utilization times to get a good representation of the different traffic types and perform the capture on different network segments. Because I chose this option. In the section 11.1.1.3, in the section show the traffic flow partners during peak hours of UCTs to get a good representation of the different types of traffic. The next question says a network station is using to the login block for 118 antennas to win 13 command on a router, which data is a network station trying to development. I select a user who is trying to use a password to access the router. Because I chose this option, in the section mentioned that login log command for under 118 attempts to win 13 will cause the device to log authentication after the two failed attempts waiting 13 seconds for a duration of the 118 seconds. Underline the part in the word explained in more in detail. The next question says which two actions can be taken to prevent a successful network attack on an email server account. Choose 2. I select never send the password through the network in the clear text and limit the number of unsuccessful attempts to log in the server. Because I chose this option. In the section 11.2.2.3, mentioned in the section there are types that are more common at the time of access attackers, where the packet tracer used to generate user accounts and the password. The next question says which network design consideration would be more important to a larger corporation than to a small business. I select redundancy because I chose this option. In the section 11.1.1.4 mentions about small companies that need access to the internet where an internet router is used to satisfy needs. Redundancy is not typical from very small companies, but larger companies do use redundancy. The next question says a newly hero network touchdown is given to the task of ordering new hardware for small businesses with a larger growth forecast. Which primary factors show the technical be concerned with when choosing the new device? I select device with support for modularity because I chose this option. In the section 11.1.1.2, and 11.1.1.4. In the section indicates that a small company with a larger rogue forest cat its main factor of influence will be the ability of the device to formulary. The next question says, an network technician uses to arm a dir command on a base PC after the router that is connected to the LAN is reconfigured. That is a result after this command is used. I select the ARP cache is cleared because I chose this section. In the section 11.3.4.2 mentions for which command the cache can be cleared. The next question says refer to exhibit. Basically, documentation for a small company had a ping round trip time statistics of 13.6 neon 19.7 diagonal on 132 bedouin hosts H1 and H3. To the network administration checked connectivity by pinging bedouin host H1 and H3 that resulted in a round trip time of the 1458 diagonal 203,319 diagonal 6066. What does this indicate to the network administration? I select something is causing a time delay between to the networks. Because I chose this option in the section 11.3.1.3, in this section it refers to the diagram that tells us where you can see the time in which it was able to connect and thus be able to verify where there is a time delay. The next question says what information about a Cisco router can be verified using the short version command. I select the value of communication register because I chose this option. In the section 11.3.3.1, in the section in diagram sheets, the command to verify the version is deployed. Next question says refer to exhibit. An administration is trying to troubleshoot connectivity between PC1 and PC2 and uses the tracer command for PC1 to do it. Based on the display output, where show the administration begin troubleshooting. I select R1 because I chose this option. In the section 11.3.2.1, we have a tracer from which it is used to trace the router that a packet takes, where the only successful response was on the first device along the router on the destination LAN that the host sent. The next question says which type and network traitor is intended to prevent authorized users from accessing routers. I select those attacks because I chose this option. In the section 11.2.2.24, in this section it mentions those attacks where authorized persons are prevented from using the service view contribute 60 resources. The next question says when should an administration establish a network baseline. I select at regular intervals over a period of the time because I chose this option. In the section 11.3.1.3 mentions that an effective network baseline is established via monitoring traffic at regular intervals. Next question says which variable factors is used to ensure that packets coming into a network are legitimate. Responses initiated for internal host. I select stateful packet inspection because I chose this option. In the section 11.2.3.3 mentions that we have active packet health inspection where incoming packets must constitute legitimate response to requests. For internal hosts where solicited packets are blocked unless specifically allowed. We come to the conclusion of the video. The justification of the chapter 11 exam question is already explained. Thanks.